And I am a victim of continual attempts to cancel me and slander my name with false claims. It will not work.
They can make up stories or tell your side for you, but at the end of the day, you know you. Jesus knows you.
Welcome back to Idiot Influencers. Today, I want to revisit the story of Sienna Mae, a once popular TikToker who was involved in one of the platform's biggest scandals. She was accused of committing reprehensible behavior, with her repeated statements doing no favors in the public eye. Towards the beginning of the year, she attempted to set the record straight, with many in her audience wholeheartedly believing her side. But why? Well, today we're going to answer that, as I piece together the whole story. Sienna Mae Gomez is a 21-year-old TikTok star known for her dance videos. She began as a competitive dancer at the age of 12, and started posting content in late 2019, right as she was about to turn 16. Her first big break was in 2020, when she created the scroll dance trend, which Lizzo of all people did. Sienna would acknowledge this in a 2021 interview she did with People magazine, though not much of note was said here. Sienna would also host TikTok's Songbreaker Awards in March of 2021, though I couldn't find any footage from that year's event. Along with that, she'd be featured in music videos like that of Kaya's 2021 song, Only One. Her big pull was her body positivity messaging, which would be preached throughout many of her dancing videos, though some didn't like this, thinking she detracts from the message, due to being healthier than many in the body positivity scene. She'd respond in a video, clarifying her stances.
It's so upsetting to me because I've always kind of put the message out there that any body type is beautiful, and you guys used to preach that with me, but lately I've seen a ton of comments that have been bashing me for losing weight and for saying that they don't relate to my content anymore, which is not in my control. I have been preaching the same message about every body is beautiful since the beginning, and there is no right body. That right body mentality defeats the whole purpose of this confident stance that I'm trying to make. You never know what's going on in somebody's life, and weight fluctuating is a very normal thing, especially for teenagers.
And I have to agree with her here. But the overall problem is that she's cultivating an audience that will have a hard time accepting her weight loss. It's what happens to every celebrity who supports the fat acceptance movement, yet wants to get healthier. In February 2021, Sienna had another small controversy related to a new merch line. Her clothes have always been tacky, sporting phrases like, "Every body is beautiful," and "Confidence is key." Shit you'd expect to see on a bumper sticker. But her new line had the phrase, "Did you eat today?" written on it. It was meant as a positive gesture, meant to remind those of eating disorders to have enough to eat, though a small minority found it to be offensive. Sienna's initial response was, the "Did you eat today?" question is not meant to make fun of, /glorify EDS, /be harmful or ironic in any way. The question is hoping to encourage / check in of people if they actually are. We created this design with love and positivity in hopes of uplifting others and asking hard questions. We stand behind the true intentions of this 100%. Though due to how toxic her audience was, she was forced to cave into pressure and make an apology video.
Hey guys, I've heard the messages from many of you, and I'm deeply sorry for any offense caused. I'm young, and I'm still navigating the world and this industry, and obviously I will not always get it right the first time. I care deeply about inclusivity, and I strive to lead by example. That means listening. With that said, I have heard you, and I have removed the merch. I will still be donating all of the proceeds of this line to Teen Line, which is a place that many teens can reach out for help. I care about you, and thank you for speaking up. Be nice to someone today. We're all struggling with something.
The following year, she began her current endeavor, a bikini company called Sienna Swim. Though this isn't what she become known for online. That would be her relationship with fellow TikToker Wright. Jack Wright and his twin brother James are childhood friends of Sienna's. She was actually closer friends with James, and had asked him to join her for an interview in Los Angeles. James happened to be out of town, so she'd go to the interview with Jack instead. The two grew closer, and the twins would introduce Sienna to many other TikTokers in LA. In an article I'll reference later, Sienna wrote, "We instantly connected. We got each other safely home after parties. We had each other's backs. People noticed a spark between us, and our videos together went viral. Suddenly, we were America's favorite teenage ship, and it all happened so fast that neither one of us really knew what it meant." The two would publicly portray a will they won't they relationship, meant to entice new viewers to their separate TikTok accounts. And this worked, though a little too well. Since they weren't actually dating, it put a lot of pressure on their friendship, which would lead to some awkward moments.
three things that you love about Jack?
3 things I love about Jack. His smile, his optimism, and his way of being kind to me no matter if I mean to him or not.
How was your first kiss like?
Our first kiss? Yeah. We haven't had it yet.
You haven't had it yet?
You haven't had first kiss yet? No.
The vlog says something else.
So we gotta get it right now.
What?
Come on, let's see the kiss.
1.
Come on,
I got it! Oh! Hey, John.
What's up?
What's 3 things you like about Sienna that
Yeah,
you
come
love?
on, Jack.
Come on.
Let's hear it, John.
Don't be shy.
She's beautiful. I love her smile too, and she's like really outgoing. You know?
Amazing.
There's a
He's
lot
so
more
nice to
things.
me.
This is peak journalism here, folks. Just a bunch of creepy adults approaching teenagers and asking if they've kissed yet. Now, the two wouldn't just film TikTok dances together. They'd also produce content for Sienna's YouTube channel. Stuff like Q&As and date nights, meant to keep the gaslight going.
Looks like spaghetti.
What kind of spaghetti are you eating? Cooking with Sienna.
I think you made a little bit.
Yeah, I think so too.
Sienna, what is this?
My speeding ticket.
How fast were you going, huh? Tell the little squirrels how fast you were going. Tell them.
I was only going like 95 and 60.
Sienna and Jack's big break was their inclusion into the Hype House, a content house filled with Californian TikTokers. So basically, hell on earth. A year after its inception, Sienna and Jack were asked to join, right around the time a Netflix show was to be filmed about the Hype House. Initially, she declined to appear, as Jack was not given a leading role. She felt bad, since Jack was the one to introduce her to many of these other creators, so she convinced the producers to give him a bigger role. What seemed to be a blessing turned out to be a curse for them, as during filming, they were made to pretend to be an actual couple. Sienna would write, 2 17-year-olds being pressured again and again to answer questions like, "Are you more than friends?" and "What do you love most about him/her?" It was so confusing and emotional as we both started to realize that uncovering the truth behind our relationship, which we agreed to not put a label on, was a major storyline on the show. The more they pressed me on camera, the more emotional I got because I wasn't sure if we were friends or more. We would agree to just be friends, and then he would gift me expensive or even matching jewelry, or plan elaborate outings. We would talk in a quiet place and say we were just friends, and then the next day we'd be making out with each other for the cameras. I didn't know what was being set up by producers and if it was real or fake. I told him I loved him and he said he loved me too. I would ask if he wanted to be more than friends and he would say, "Not yet." Because of the lengthy filming process, Sienna wouldn't post as much content with Jack, making many question what was going on. The show wouldn't be released until January 2022, and by then, things had changed. If you watch it, you'll notice that Sienna is pretty much not in the show at all. Her scenes with Jack would be entirely removed due to allegations that would surface while the series was still in post-production. On May 30th, 2021, a friend of Jack's named Mason Rizzo would post the following Notes app tweet. "Jack and James have been my best friends since kindergarten. I struggle with seeing a girl getting praised after telling my best friend to kill himself, and sexually assaulting him numerous times after he set boundaries, and then repeatedly wonder why he doesn't like you back. She also has a history of verbally abusing people in high school and in LA. She prioritizes the growth of her platform, rather than the positive message she represents herself as. Followers should not be an excuse to get away with abusive behavior. You guys all deserve to know the truth about her." Jack's brother James would quote tweet this, stating, "This is why I couldn't just let it go and stay out of it." Sienna quickly responded with her own Notes app message, this time on Instagram. "Friends fight and relationships sometimes change, but allegations of a criminal act are not meant to be thrown around loosely. Making an untrue sexual assault claim is never okay. I'm beyond saddened by the situation. In order for us to all move forward, I will be taking this offline with Jack. Thank you to all who have reached out with love and concern." Due to this, both Mason and James would delete their posts, though Sienna decided to respond to these allegations further. On June 1st, she released an upload titled, "Addressing False Allegations." She starts it off by immediately denying Mason's statement, and is making this video since her name is being dragged through the mud, and she wants to stick up for herself.
I have nothing to apologize for because I did not sexually assault Jack Wright. Jack never confirmed or denied it, which makes the situation even worse because he never denied it knowing that is not true. The allegations were made in a tweet by Mason of sexual assault. Let me be clear one more time, I did not sexually assault Jack Wright. The claims that he made and that James co-signed are completely false. Over the past few months, Jack and I have been together almost every day, and he never once brought these sexual assault allegations to me in private, which is why I was so confused and in shock when they came out in public.
Sienna then goes a bit into detail regarding her relationship with Jack. She insists the two never had sex, despite that never being a claim Mason made. Right after that, she tries stringing together a narrative that Jack was leading her on.
I gave my entire heart and all of my love for 9 months so vulnerably on the internet, and everyone can go and look at these videos and see how invested I was in our relationship. And when I wasn't inconvenienced, when I wasn't around for the video or the TikTok kiss or the TikTok views, I wasn't important to him. But that is not true in my case. I cared about him on a personal level, and I will always have a special place in my heart for him.
So what she's doing here is creating a narrative that she wanted to be more than friends, and Jack must have only pretended to like her for more TikTok views. This all comes up later, as it's Sienna's main point against the narrative Jack and his friends would spread.
I never wanted to bring this to the internet in a way that was problematic, and so 2 weeks ago I asked him to film a video with me for my mental health sake because I couldn't move on with everyone thinking that we were still together, and he told me that it wasn't healthy for either of us because he knew that this would mean losing his online girlfriend, even though my mental health was suffering because I wanted to be with him so bad, and he knew that he would never and did not have feelings for me.
What she doesn't mention in these text messages is the part where Jack says, "Sorry we got into a fight on the last bit of the trip. I didn't mean what I said. Hope you feel better and have a safe flight home. See you soon." She does not dive into the specifics of the story here. Maybe Jack showed regret over that first text, I don't know. Sienna then follows that up by admitting she loved him.
He never defined the relationship because it was beneficial for him to keep it undefined. And that was a mental game for me because it left me second guessing whether or not there was hope for the future. I never knew, and I will never know if he truly loved me. Even though he told me he did, all I can say is that I was in love with him.
Even crazier than that is Sienna admitting that Jack was sexually assaulted, just not by her. So who did? Well, fuck you, she never gives any details.
But you know I did not sexual assault you. We both know what happened, and we both know who it was, and we both know that I was not at that gathering that night. I'm so disappointed in you and the people around you because they are letting you misplace your trauma onto me, and I'm so sorry that this happened to you. It's not my place to speak your story, and I will not discuss this any further, but it's not your place to allow false allegations to be spread about me when we both know that I was not the one who did this to you. I was there for you through the aftermath and all those depressive nights and the nights that you had no motivation, and I would go and I would clean your room and I would get you food and I would be there for you as a good friend because I cared about you so much. I'm so sorry that this happened to you, and I really hope you can get through this.
Yeah, it's Jack's story to tell, even though she mentioned it simply to shift the blame over to some boogeyman. It wasn't me who assaulted you, it was that sleep paralysis demon over there. Since this video's release, Sienna has never given any evidence for this claim, not even any updated information. It's so bizarre. Sienna ends the video by going over the other big claim made by Mason, that she has a history of verbally abusing people in high school. She mainly responds by saying she doesn't remember being an asshole to anyone, but if she was, she's super sorry.
Jack and James both have a lot of mutual friends and are great on the surface level. They are super kind people, have always been the popular kids at school, always super involved in sports, while I was not. I've never been somebody that let my guard down easily. I take a while before I become close with somebody. I never really got too close with anyone at my high school, and I don't remember saying anything or hurting anybody, although a lot of the experiences and interactions that I've seen using my name are false. If I actually did offend or hurt you, I am so sorry.
Jack would finally make his own statement shortly after, writing, "While I love sharing my life with all of you, some parts are deeply personal, and I have been hesitant to share my story for my own emotional and mental well-being. But I will say this, sexual assault is a serious matter that has real consequences. Mason and James' only intention was to protect me with the truth, and I really value their enormous support through this extremely difficult time. I truly encourage my childhood friend Sienna to get the support and help that she needs. I don't want to tear anyone down, and only have healing for everyone involved." Mason would seemingly comply with Sienna's request to keep things private, tweeting, "The Wright family, Sienna's family, and I have decided to delete all information about the situation, and handle it off of social media." This tweet wasn't up for very long, with many confused fans wondering what he said in the first place. This signaled to many that the drama would be concluding, but in reality, it was only beginning. Sienna seemed confident that she could quickly dispel the rumors about her, even taunting that there was no evidence. If there were, she was confident enough to post them herself.
Whatever evidence you think you have, either post it or send it to me and I'll post it, because you have nothing. Actually, keep posting things, because we both know that's not true, and my legal team is gathering evidence as we speak. I hope you're ready for the real consequences that come from these seriously false allegations.
Now, Mason himself wouldn't post any evidence, as he pretty much just checked out of this drama. Instead, another one of Jack's friends would post evidence, that being Lachlan Hannemann. On June 3rd, 2021, he posted the following video to TikTok.
This video is from November 30th, 2020. As you can clearly see, that is Sienna and that is Jack passed out on the couch, unconscious. This is the first time I met Sienna and I did not know that they had a fake relationship. This is me in the white hat. I was taking care of Jack while he was unconscious on the couch. Sienna then hops on top of him and I didn't think nothing of it. I started hearing kissing noises and I peeked over my shoulder and it was exactly that. I was so thrown off guard that I had to leave the situation. Whatever their relationship was at the time, obviously this was not right. So I went back and took Sienna off of Jack. Not to mention when I got closer, I noticed her right hand inappropriately touching his crotch. She was shocked that I pulled her off and she kept trying to justify what she had just done. I talked to James and Jack the next day about the situation that happened at night. And James said that happens all the time. These are the facts and I'm a witness.
Lachlan quickly deleted the video, though it was soon reposted by others online, including failed comedian Def Noodles. So Lachlan is claiming that during a hangout 6 months prior, Sienna was making out and groping Jack while he was unconscious. Obviously, I have to censor this video a bit, but I'll post a link to the full TikTok below. Sienna would respond the next day, uploading the video on both TikTok and YouTube. Now, I couldn't find the YouTube version, so you'll have to deal with it in portrait mode. Blame Sienna, not me. These people keep deleting their responses, it's fucking annoying. She begins this new upload by doubling down on her assertion that she didn't sexually assault Jack Wright. Someone else apparently did, according to her, but it's more of an afterthought here.
We must always listen to victims. Yes, Jack was a victim of sexual assault, but not by me. And I am a victim of continual attempts to cancel me and slander my name with false claims. It will not work. I'm here to clear things up and provide all sides of the story because I have been labeled as a sexual assaulter. If I say nothing, my name continues to be slandered. And trust me, I have tried multiple times to take this offline and I am continually undermined by Jack and his inner circle.
I love how she immediately makes this about herself. Yeah, you were sexually assaulted, but she's getting cancelled, Jack. That's way more pertinent. Sienna does bring up the evidence presented by Lachlan, and seemingly tries to justify it through showing footage where she kisses and hugs Jack.
Online, we touched each other, kissed each other, we were playful. Jack kissed me, and I kissed him. Within the boundaries of our relationship, this was normal.
Sienna seems to be willfully ignorant here, but the problem was never that she was kissing Jack. It's that she was kissing Jack while he was unconscious. She admits that the video in question looks very compelling, but claims that the issue with it is the lack of context. You see, she claims Jack was awake and was kissing her.
The clip of me kissing Jack, he is also kissing me. I was looking at him face to face. He was kissing me back. Lachlan claims that he was unconscious. If he was unconscious, why did his arm move when you got up?
Sienna, we can clearly see why his arm moved. His arm was resting on Lachlan's shoulder. It's called gravity. You know, Isaac Newton, the apple, the hit 2013 movie.
And also, why was he kissing me back? You claim in your video that you hear kissing noises.
I started hearing kissing noises and I peeked over my shoulder and it was exactly that.
We were kissing.
You definitely don't need two people to produce kissing noises. In fact, during the production of films, only one person is used to create the sound in a Foley studio.
Lachlan also claims that my hand is on Jack's crotch. While it is not, my hand is very visibly on Jack's thigh, upper thigh.
Okay, let's say she was touching his thigh, not his crotch. That's so bad if he was indeed unconscious. Her arguments here sound like, oh, well, I didn't sexually assault him, but if I did, it wasn't that aggressive.
This video was very strategically narrated, and the clip of Jack after, where he actually was unconscious or asleep, was after we had just made out. These two clips look terrible edited together, but that is the point. They are edited together.
Yes, because they couldn't get a good look at Jack while you were straddling on top of him. Lachlan mentions that they had to get you off of him, which explains the context.
One more point. If Jack was being sexually assaulted in this moment, James, why did you record it? James, you are Jack's twin brother. And I know that if my brother saw me being taken advantage of, he would pick up the person on top of me and beat them to shit, not film it.
They are filming it because they need evidence. This keeps it from strictly being a he said, she said situation. And this point is null and void anyways because Lachlan claims they did get you off of him. They're trying to incriminate you, not themselves, by hypothetically beating the ever-loving shit out of you. In that scenario, you could use your bruises from that as evidence against them. Sienna then attempts to give more context, clarifying what her relationship with Jack was up to that point, that being November 30th, 2020.
When we had first just started to kind of ease our way into relationship, not relationship, defined, and you were introducing me as your girl to a group of people. So what am I to believe that the signals that you're giving me?
She's saying this to explain why she'd be kissing Jack, even if they were dating. That doesn't excuse kissing him while he's crashed out on the couch. The only way that wouldn't be sexual assault is if Jack claims he gave you permission, which based on the fact that he's sticking by his friends means that he didn't. Sienna then discusses Lachlan's claim that the situation made Jack's friends uncomfortable with her. She shows confusion as to why they didn't bring these feelings up with her and still chose to hang out with her the next day.
The next day, December 1st, they willingly hung out with me, which doesn't align with the story because if I was just taken advantage of, I know that personally, and I'm sure a lot of people can agree to this, wouldn't want to hang out with that person the next day willingly. This is also a TikTok that was made December 1st, not even 24 hours after the said sexual assault.
Good morning. I just wanted to say that
do you think Jack would have made this video with me if he felt uncomfortable from the night before? Again, this video was back in November. If there was a problem, why did we continue to hang out? And why did we continue to film flirty videos, not only the next day, but days and months after, until May of 2021, where you were flirty and touchy back with me? It benefited you on social media when you knew that I actually had feelings for you that had been developing over months since we first started filming together, and you allowed and encouraged these TikToks to happen.
Now this should be pretty obvious to some, but many victims stay with their abusers due to a belief that they could change as a person. As for why his friends stayed around, maybe they were looking out for Jack and stayed silent until the time was right. During the beginning of the video, Sienna shames Lachlan, James, and Mason for deleting their allegations against her.
The initial tweets, as well as the video that I am talking about right now, have been taken down. If you present evidence of somebody being sexually assaulted, don't you think you should stand by it? And it looks a little suspicious when you immediately remove it from the internet. The reason they are removing it is because they know it will get picked up by these T sites and put all over our Instagram pages and TikTok For You pages. If someone was sexually assaulted, the evidence is evidence. You don't delete evidence.
Now, this isn't mentioned until the very end, but the most likely reason is because she legally threatened them.
You've now been served cease and desist letters by my attorneys. I've seen the jokes and the memes about Sienna's legal team, but I'm being accused of an actual crime. Do you really think I would follow through with legal action if these crimes were true? No, because they are not true. These defamatory claims were made to ruin my name. I will continue to stand up for myself and tell the truth. This is false, and I refuse to let the people who supported me and the people who have been there throughout my entire career, as well as this shitty situation, believe that these false claims are a representation of my character.
She admits here that she sent cease and desist letters to them. Now I don't know how else to say this, Sienna, but them deleting stuff is not an admission of guilt. It means they don't want to go through a costly legal process that could take years to resolve. I completely understand why they took these down if that's the case, as at least they got this information out there for the public to decide. Many were publicly against Sienna at this point, causing her to get a lot of pushback. It got to the point that she had to pull out of the Hype House Netflix show, stating, "My team asked Hype House producers to remove me from the show, so that I did not have to relive the online bullying in light of the crazy Team Jack and Team Sienna sentiment online, as they knew people would pick apart every interaction between us. Netflix also did not want to be liable for my mental health. That's why I wasn't in the show. That's why producers had to figure out what to fill without months of Jack and Sienna footage. I'm sure the Hype House members are mad at me. I would probably be mad at me too. I am sorry, especially to the cast and crew, who worked so hard on this show. Now I assume Sienna didn't just get hold of a legal team, but also a PR team. Unlucky for her, she got the worst PR team possible, one that even put Colleen Ballinger's to shame. In July 2021, she uploaded a new dance video to her YouTube and Instagram account, which many like myself interpreted as an apology video. Why? Well, let's dive into that. It's a very performative art piece where Sienna tries to seem deep, awe-inspiring, and emotional, something that a breadtuber would gawk at if it wasn't being made by an alleged sexual assaulter. At the start of this video, she gives this monologue about why she briefly left the internet.
I decided to take a month off of social media due to the negativity surrounding my platform. It was honestly one of the most difficult times in my life for many reasons, but through struggle, I found clarity within myself and with who I want to surround myself with.
Things get a bit more baffling when she expresses her biggest motivators in life.
My purpose in this life is to create, and whether that's silly TikTok dances or showing unedited photos of myself, creating and inspiring is what fulfills me. I know that this is why God and the universe have given me this platform.
Ah yes, God put you on this earth to do silly TikTok dances. You see, when God made me, Rob's Media, he did it with the sole intent for me to shit-talk goobers online, so I can use my Google AdSense revenue to buy Legos. It's fine if she enjoys this shit, but posting unedited photos of yourself online isn't as groundbreaking as she thinks it is. And it's especially weird to mention in a video addressing serious allegations.
I preach self-love, but that takes time and patience. Now, more than ever, I feel proud of the person that I am. Even if I can only inspire one person, I will have done what I was put on this earth to do.
That's so deep. Did you get that quote off Tumblr, Sienna? Holy shit, I'm getting goosebumps.
We're all learning and growing, and more than anything, I'm beyond thankful for my family, friends, partnerships, and supporters.
I really want to thank my loving family and friends. Oh, and my sponsors. Just as important as your loved ones, am I right, guys? Now after this, she mentions the Sam Smith song, Young, which has been lately playing in the background. It's a song describing redemption for past mistakes, as insisted in a BBC interview. I wanted this to be an honest declaration before we get into the record. I want people to forgive me for the mistakes I make, for being young. Now it's pretty devious that she's picking this song, because she's trying to compare her struggles to Sam's. Sam made it about the pressure he faced in his early career, doing stuff like getting drunk and getting high in order to deal with it. Sienna is being accused of something criminal, something that only happened 8 months prior. There's also a set of lyrics here that come off as really tone deaf.
Kiss 100 boys and I feel like I'm tied to them.
Great song choice if people think you've kissed someone non-consensually. And obviously, I have to talk about her dancing here. It's so absurd. She's in her underwear in an empty room pulling out the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse moves.
I just love to create. I love to inspire and show unedited photos of myself. And if I can just inspire one person, then I'll have done what I set out on this earth to do. Hit him with the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse dance. Like, oh god, guess we got the wrong guy. He's not guilty, he just popped and locked on us.
I'm not exactly equipped to review dance, but it just looks like shit. She's moving around like she's possessed. But at least this pairs really well with Toxic Gossip Train.
The Toxic Gossip Train. You got a one-way ticket to manipulation station. Toxic Gossip Train. Tie me to the tracks and harass me for my past.
Easily the worst part of her apology video is the very end, where she tries to take all responsibility away from herself.
I've done nothing wrong, I'm young.
I've done nothing wrong, I'm young. This feels like an admission of guilt, though with a dash of plausible deniability. A 17-year-old boy in these same circumstances would not get the same level of charitability Sienna does. His life would be ruined. Sienna would try to ignore the backlash, though it would grow following some updates in early 2022. She soon took down her original 2 responses and the dancing video, becoming super overprotective of the latter. It's hard to find it in high quality, as she'll place copyright takedown notices on reuploads. Sure, you could say it's reasonable for her to do this, it's her content, but part of me feels like she's doing this to simply hide the most embarrassing thing she's ever done.
Maybe this is rough, but can you imagine like Kevin Spacey coming out and doing like a tap dance routine? I'm so sorry that I courted young boys. Woody Allen. I slept with my own daughter. Hey, who slept with my own daughter? Who? Hey, day. Wow, he's a really good dancer. I know he's done unspeakable crimes, but he is a fantastic dancer.
On January 20th, 2022, Jack would release a more official statement on his YouTube channel titled, What Sienna Mae Did to Me. It's 17 minutes long, and Jack does go a bit into detail. And before I get a load of comments about this, yes, there's a smoke detector chirp in the background. Get your jokes out, guys. No, Jack is not roommates with Shelbo. He talks about the beginning of the drama and explains why Mason took down his tweet. Jack's earlier statement was to simply confirm that he agreed with what Mason said. Things were going to remain offline until Sienna released her first video, which Jack interpreted as a way to dismiss his feelings and validate herself. This led to Lachlan releasing evidence in the second video from Sienna.
That night she posted a 15-part aggressive video gaslighting everything about what happened, how much she loved me, and that I was using her for clout, which was all lies. It was typical gaslighting to a victim. It was, why didn't you stop hanging out with me? Why didn't you tell me in the first place?
Jack then dives into his history of Sienna, explaining that she previously dated another friend of his. He claims Sienna cheated on this friend twice, creating a rift in their friend group. Jack was forgiving of her, as he always wants to see the best in people. The two grew a closer friendship after the interview Sienna took him to, but he clarifies that they were only ever friends.
I just want to clarify that we both knew that we were just friends. She was seeing and talking to other guys in LA all the time, and I just thought of her as a good friend. We were making videos, we were making dance trends, we had fun. It was just strictly friends, and we both knew that.
Despite being a bit touchy for videos, Jack says Sienna would cross boundaries.
So the first incident where Sienna crossed boundaries, it was after filming. We went into the room. I was just chilling on my phone on the bed, and she got naked, like completely naked, nothing on, and straddled me when I was literally just chilling on the bed. But I didn't know what to do in like the situation because it was just like random and weird. Quickly told her, Sienna, get off, we're just friends, stop. They're trying to make out with me. They're like just doing a bunch of things to me. And I kept on saying, Sienna, stop, get off. I didn't want to like be like aggressive. I didn't want to hurt her, you know? So I pulled her off of me, and it took like a couple of tries because I didn't want to be like too rough. And I went out of the room, and that was like the end of it. The next morning, where she was like, I'm so sorry for doing that. That was, I don't know what went through my head. I had to clarify again that I didn't like her that way. We were just friends. She said sorry, that was it.
Jack says this behavior kept happening, with Sienna making sexual advancements despite Jack telling her no. This used to happen behind closed doors, until their trip to Hawaii in November 2020.
I was passed out unconscious almost like the whole night. She got on top of me, took advantage of me, groped me. I'm so glad they pulled her off of me, and honestly I'm glad that they have evidence. After Sienna found out about the video, she said sorry. She said if this got out, she would be done, that it's horrible, and she's working on boundaries, and she was seeking therapy.
Jack then tells a different story, where he was at a party taking some pictures of other girls, presumably fans. Sienna got pissed at him over this for some reason, as if she wasn't constantly hooking up with other guys. Rules for thee and not for me, apparently. Jack got pissed at her for having a problem, and Sienna allegedly responded by trying to make out with him.
That's when she pulled me in and grabbed me and tried to make out with me, and I got pissed and told her to leave. I wanted to stay at the party, and she kind of had already been yelling at every single person in the party. So two friends wanted to take her home, and while the car was moving, she jumped out of the car, rolled, and said, I have to get back to Jack. So I ran back to the house, and I was like hiding from her, and I was just waiting for her parents to finally pick her up. Looking back now, I don't know why I stayed friends with her, stayed around her. I truly thought she was gonna change for some reason. I feel like she'd say she had so much love for me and that she truly cared for me. And then the next night she would do something like that.
That's why Jack claims he continued being friends with her. It's not an inconsistency in a story, unlike what Sienna believes. Also, the whole jumping out of the car story was seemingly corroborated by someone in their friend group named Aiden. This was back in May 2021 when Mason first posted his allegations. To cope with Jack's constant rejection, he claims that Sienna would cry about it to friends. This confused him due to her promiscuity. Jack then claims that Sienna would try to break into his house in the middle of the night to sleep with him.
She would constantly come to my house, remember my door codes. It got to the point where I had to like start screaming at her to like get out of my house because I was so sick of her just like breaking into my house. I would wake up and see her car just sitting outside at like 2 in the morning. She would break into my house, and when I was sound asleep, she'd come into my room and I'd wake up to her hand in my pants, and it wasn't like the only time it happened too. I was so like used to it. I was so used to it that I don't know, it was just like normal for me that I didn't think there was such like a problem at all. Like part of me wants to blame myself for being nice and sticking around after so many times. But now I realize that I was stuck in this like manipulative cycle of her acting like she extremely cared about me, and then that night she would do stuff to me, and it was just so normal for me. I got used to it, which sucks. I feel like no one should have to go through.
Jack feels like she had power over him, making him stuck within a rock and a hard place. During one of these instances of her breaking in, Jack tried to hide in the bathroom, to which she tried barging in anyways.
So I like locked the door, she was trying to get in, and I literally just slept on the floor, and she finally went to bed. It's like very awkward the next morning, and she'll say sorry, and I'm like, Sienna, this happens so many times. Like, you do not respect boundaries. You just, oh my god.
Sometime after this incident, Jack's family took another trip to Hawaii. Sienna's family planned out the exact same trip in order to hang out with them. They had left a few days before, and Jack tried to avoid hanging out with her. She apparently wanted to stay on this trip with Jack once her family left, which Jack found distressing. He felt like she's always trying to find ways to hang out with him, not giving him time away. During another Hawaii trip, this time with friends, Sienna found another way to join him. He describes how Sienna was once again pissed that Jack was hanging out with other girls.
And she took me into the bathroom to talk to me, saying that she wanted to leave. She was blocking the door, so like I couldn't just like throw her out of the way. All I had was, stop, Sienna, don't do that. If I come out, she will like scream at me in front of everyone and think that I did something. I mean, I feel like no one believes a male, especially in like that type of situation. But yeah, she was on the counter and wrapped her legs around me and started like, let me out of the bathroom. Yeah, just weird stuff. That night we went home, made sure we had like different rooms to stay in. And I got in the shower and she picked the lock of my door. I made sure to lock the doors, but she picked the lock and walked in. I was in the shower. All I heard was just like the door opening. And that's when I was just done. I screamed at her, told her to get out. She started crying. She went and slept in my bed. And I went to my friend's trundle bed that was like upstairs. And that's how like the night ended.
Following that recount, Jack mentions that as soon as the allegations were made public due to his friends, other guys came forward with their own experiences of Sienna. He shows these messages on screen. Obviously, there's no evidence to these claims, but all three describe Sienna as very sexually aggressive, someone who constantly takes advantage of vulnerable men. Jack says it took him quite a while to make this video, due to needing time to process everything, but he feels as if he needs to share these details for the sake of other guys.
As of Sienna, I don't know if she'll ever be sorry. I don't know if she'll ever learn from what she did or she'll ever admit to what she did. But I just don't want her to do this to other people. If you've been through a similar situation as me, I encourage you just to speak out to anyone. And trust me, it helps so much.
This video blew the drama up even more, leading to many big YouTubers discussing the allegations against Sienna. Jack's video currently has over 23 million views, and Sienna obviously had to make some sort of response. 2 days after Jack's video, Sienna would publish a blog post titled Sienna Mae Gomez, Reflections from an 18-year-old Me. It would be featured on both her personal website and Medium, a blog site. I'm not going to be reading this article word for word, but I want to highlight certain sections and give my thoughts on them. The opening paragraphs are an attempt to make herself seem sympathetic, as in, to make herself seem like the ultimate victim of this entire situation. I'm going to assume that you already know that for the last almost 8 months, I've been fighting a very public battle that involves topics I didn't know much about until recently. Trigger warning: sexual assault, boundaries, consent. For 8 long grueling months, I've been fighting to save friendships, to save business relationships, to save my own mental health. Up until this week, I was so proud of the progress I've made, like being on my phone less and learning to surf and cook with friends, and value things that really matter. I highlight this because she seems to imply that she didn't know much about consent and sexual boundaries, which are essentially what Jack was alleging in the first place, the behavior she adamantly denied in her response videos. In the next paragraph, she admits to sending Jack's legal team a cease and desist. Then she describes her relationship with Jack, with the timeline being pretty accurate based on Jack's own account. Following her discussion of the Hype House show, she mentions their Hawaii trip in May 2021. She wrote, "I wasn't originally supposed to be on this trip, but to be clear, he said I can come a few days before going. Looking back now, I see that it was to make content. Something on this trip was different. Everywhere he went, he introduced me as his girl, but then take pictures and blatantly flirt with other people. I was jealous, but more than that, I was confused. Why was I here? Why was he introducing me as his counterpart, telling me to wait patiently to be together, if he really didn't want any of it?" So here, she's trying to flip the script and say Jack was seeing other people, not her. That Jack was the one gaslighting her, not the other way around. She says she asked Jack to clarify their true relationship status to the public, which he apparently denied in order to benefit their brand. He did apologize for saying that, and the two decided to stop talking for a brief period. James, Jack's twin, would ask why Sienna wasn't talking to them, implying he did not know what was going on. Then the allegations came forward, and Sienna claims the damning video was taken out of context. A few days after that, their friend Lachlan released a video taken from a November 2020 party, showing Jack and me kissing. He narrated the whole thing to make it look like it was something it wasn't. To be clear, James took the video as a joke on a Snapchat 7 months earlier, and they decided to resurface it. I would like to think that neither Mason nor James realized the impact that their tweets and the taken out of context video would have. Though they took it all down, it really didn't matter. The damage had been done. She doesn't do a good job explaining this point, instead passing the video off as a joke James made. That doesn't make sense to me, and I feel like additional context is needed from Sienna, ironically enough. Sienna then debunks the claim that she cheated on a previous partner, though she never brings up the claims that she'd hook up with other guys while lusting after Jack. The criticism isn't that she's a cheater, but rather she's a hypocrite for calling out Jack simply talking to other girls. Sienna then pulls out the race card and makes Jack seem prejudiced for calling out a Latina girl. I am devastated that he made me sound crazy and twisted, so many things out of context in this most recent video, to the point of literally painting me into the loud, crazy, overly sexualized stereotype that people try to use on young, especially Latina women. This is just reaching, trying to find a way to demonize Jack any way she could. Not once did Jack ever mention race. His allegations only have to do with her as a person. Sienna claims she never broke into Jack's house, but does know his garage door code and would casually go into his house with friends. She says there are counter-arguments for every claim in this video, but chooses not to dive into them any further. The really damning stuff is at the end, where she begins to admit to her wrongdoings. Did I do some things wrong and sloppy as a 16/17-year-old girl who felt love for a guy? Yes, for sure. I admit to stepping out of a car, stopping at a stop sign, last New Year's after we publicly fought. There was alcohol involved, and I'm definitely not proud of my behavior. After we kissed at midnight, he went and flirted with other people. At least that's how I saw it. I got jealous. It was stupid and I'm so ashamed. She's trying to chalk things up to teenagers do stupid shit, and lists dumb things Jack has allegedly done, which pale in comparison to what she's accused of. Shortly after the first allegations came out last June, I made 2 videos. Both are still on my YouTube, which I wish I could take back. I'm not proud of how I responded, and want to apologize to sexual assault survivors who I offended with my ignorance in responding to these false allegations. They were made hastily and without oversight from anyone but my brother and me. I have since learned a lot about sexual assault, and the psychological trauma responses victims of sexual assault may develop as a result of abuse. I learned what Stockholm Syndrome and trauma bonds are, and am grateful to have had the opportunity to learn, so that I can be a better ally to victims of sexual assault. Now just to remind you, in those videos, Sienna says that her making out with Jack was normal for them, within the boundaries of their relationship.
Online, we touched each other, kissed each other, we were playful. Jack kissed me, and I kissed him. Within the boundaries of our relationship, this was normal.
But in this article, she says she never set clear boundaries with Jack. I wish I knew then what I know now. I wish we had laid out boundaries that make sense to us both. That protected both of us from feeling vulnerable or misled. I don't know a lot of other people who, at 17, know how to do that with their partners, but I would have liked to have tried. Now since she takes back what she said in those first 2 videos, then she must realize that she violated Jack's consent, right? Well, a few paragraphs later, Sienna says she did not understand consent until she turned 18, which is very concerning. My parents have been married for 23 years, and I grew up watching them freely express affection to each other. I understand now not everyone has this comfortability with affection. I understand now that when you're in a relationship, there needs to be a very open and honest conversation about consent, even before sexual acts, even if it's holding hands, hugging, and being affectionate in a friendly manner. The last thing I would ever want to do is breach someone's boundaries, and for that, I become explicitly aware of the way I interact with others and will do better. Then, to make things even more clear, she says this to Jack at the very end. I apologize if there were times that I made you feel uncomfortable. I am sorry if anything I ever did triggered other feelings you have experienced, or any feelings of discomfort, but anything I did unknowingly. As our physical relationship on camera was one of closeness and familiarity, that I had known to carry into our real lives. Now what I think she's trying to do here is insist that even if she did cross his boundaries, it isn't sexual assault, because it wasn't done maliciously. Even if it wasn't, the action could still be considered sexual assault, or at least sexual battery. Obviously, it's worse if someone did it maliciously, but both have the same outcome. She either doesn't seem to understand that, or is purposely trying to confuse people. Either way, this article did not help in the slightest to help her image. While I was researching for this video, I found this Reddit post where someone points out a slip-up Sienna made. She allegedly uses an alt Instagram account called Meihaoeo, using it to promote the Medium article. She seemingly forgot to log out of it one time and commented as Sienna. Obviously this could be faked, and the account doesn't exist anymore on Insta, although an account by the same name still engages with Sienna's fans on TikTok, with Sienna herself replying to it for a video she made in January 2025. So, very shameless behavior. 2 days later, on January 24th, Jack would issue a statement to Business Insider, giving his brief thoughts on the Medium article. He wrote, I truly appreciate Sienna's acknowledgement that she made mistakes, and that she did not fully understand consent. It is a step in a positive direction. I believe Sienna is struggling to face the truth, and the harmful, painful choices she's made. Every word in my video is the truth. I hope she continues to get the help she needs, so this never happens again. So in a sense, he wants to forgive Sienna, and hopes she can change for the better. It seems genuine, and maybe now that both sides have said their piece, this drama could resolve. Well, fuck you, Sienna just had to keep going. A month later, she appeared on the BFF Podcast, with her legal team alongside her. The BFF Podcast, primarily hosted by Brianna Paglia and Josh Richards, is a weekly series created by Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports. Yes, the guy who loves promoting crypto scams, that pillar of humanity. He used to be a host on this podcast as well, but quit 6 months ago. Anyways, Sienna had previously appeared on this podcast in January 2021, in an episode ironically titled, Sienna Mae is the Unproblematic Queen. Because Sienna isn't that bright, she brings on her lawyer and a video forensics expert to help with the interview, which optically is the worst thing you can do. It totally contrasts the vibe she's trying to set, of being an authentic person simply trying to set the record straight.
This look is unusual. I'm going to say that right off the bat, because like having your lawyer and the forensic guy is weird. I've never done that, but it's your choice. But I do want to say,
I came in and I was like, holy shit, am I in the right Zoom room?
Yeah.
What is going on?
I feel you.
Like I'm in court.
So is this your choice or their choice to be like, we want to be on the call with you?
It's a little intimidating, I feel you, but no. I want to talk about my emotional state, and like I feel like what I want to touch on is like how I'm doing and like the emotional questions that I know you guys are gonna ask. But as for like the legal and like the so what's going on questions, that's for them to answer, because like I don't want to, I don't want to butcher anything. This is all like, now it's serious, you know, like.
I'll cut through her bullshit. She doesn't want to accidentally admit to anything that can make her look bad. She's not here to give the facts of the situation. She wants to perform a pseudo-therapy session. She might as well be on a podcast of Anissa Jomha and her husband. Dave asks if there's any legal proceedings going on, and Sienna's lawyer says that Jack's side hasn't pushed anything.
There has been no police report filed. There has been no police investigation. There's been no civil complaint filed. There has been absolutely nothing by way of an investigation or any kind of legal proceeding filed. Honestly, at the end of the day, this is all just a video online.
Right. So then though, but then that begs the question, if there hasn't been a legal issue, like why are you here? She can't, like there's nothing going on. She could theoretically answer for herself.
Because obviously there have been allegations made. Right? Obviously, there have been legal allegations made. And at this point, after so long of just going back and forth online, and it's all just social media talking back and forth, it was time to actually bring in some professionals who are going to talk about what's really real. And what's real is that there's nothing out there.
This is legal intimidation. She wants to scare Jack and make sure he doesn't say anything else or he'll get his ass sued. And I don't think Sienna will sue anyone, as despite multiple cease and desists given out, nothing has happened. And that's from the lawyer's own words. She is there to simply aid Sienna in talking about the allegations publicly. Sienna is just there to make the audience sympathetic to her, though instead people notice how she was just downplaying everything.
But I think that with how like blown out of proportion this has all got, it's now like to the point where I just like can't even like deal with this stuff anymore. Like,
now something really damning is that Sienna admits to not talking to Jack since their last Hawaii trip, which completely contradicts what she said previously.
What was your initial reaction to Jack? Like, did you reach out to him? What did you say? What was that conversation? There was nothing?
So I haven't talked to him and literally since our last trip to Hawaii together. The last time I literally saw him was before I got on my flight, and we haven't talked since.
When Mason initially made the allegations, Sienna wrote, "In order for us to all move forward, I will be taking this offline with Jack." Well, I guess she never did that. Maybe someone else did on her behalf, but it again makes her seem inauthentic. When asked about the video evidence being posted, she doubles down.
So when that came out, you didn't reach out to Jack, be like, what is this? Nothing.
Huh.
Well, you
And
guys
he didn't
already
reach out
broke
to you.
Well, because he didn't post it. So I was obviously furious.
So did you not text anyone or reach out to anybody, like even Jack's friends or something like that, being like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Like, I feel like this isn't right what you guys are like. Did you reach out to anyone at all?
I literally don't know. I think I maybe reached out to the guy who tweeted the tweet and was like, you know what you're saying is a lie. Like, I don't remember what I said, but I think I was just kind of like, what are you saying? Like, you know that's not true. Why are you talking about that on his behalf?
And then what does someone like Jack's friend or like say to that? Like, have you had any of them?
None of them ever responded.
Sienna also gets asked about her friendship with Jack, and she says all this cringeworthy shit about how she wanted to marry him.
I've said this before, but I was like, I like really, really loved him. Like, I've been in like 2 previous like long-term relationships, and I was like, I'm gonna get married to this guy. Like, this is the one. Like, I was so stoked on him, and he like was loving making the content because of like the views that it would get, and it would get a ton of views on my accounts too. I think we both kind of like saw that as a business transaction, as like a business deal. But then for me personally, like I was personally between us like super into it, and he knew that I was, and I think he also knew that he wasn't, and that's where things got messy. And I think that, yeah.
So did you realize he wasn't into it and you were still pursuing it, or you didn't realize?
Well, I talked about this in my article, basically about how we would kind of just play this game and go back and forth where we would kiss. Also, I just want to reiterate, we never had sex.
Sienna, I just think you're delusional, and this is you coping. And the fact you're using this to spread a narrative about Jack being fame-hungry is really bizarre. She seems to think Jack was leading her on, which, maybe, but that doesn't excuse Sienna allegedly hooking up with other guys at the same time. Josh asks what Jack's motivations for lying could be, and Sienna doesn't have an answer. She says she has theories, but can't say for sure what the true reasonings are. The video forensics guy then plays a video he made trying to disprove the main piece of evidence, which the cast of BFF laughs at.
The National Center for Audio and Video Forensics was retained to perform an analysis on a cell phone video posted to social media. I was asked if the video can be used as credible evidence of the accusations against Ms. Gomez. In short, no. The posted video is not credible evidence of these accusations. The video is not original. The video has been heavily altered. The video provides no context to the events. The video is not credible evidence of the accusations against Ms. Gomez.
I feel like that's what me and you did, Dave. We could be fucking forensic people.
I feel like that was a bad CSI video. It's a crazy video. Like, I'm interested to see what people think. My instinct is people are going to be like, that's a guilty video. I agree with what's said in it, but it felt like a bad movie. So, to me, that's how that, felt. And I agree with the facts of it's so short. Like, why is it so short?
Yeah,
I agree with the points in the video. I just think it comes across like that no is like a second grade, school. No offense if it's the top left. But that was
I understand.
It was like one of those train warning videos. You know what I mean? When they're telling you don't go on the train tracks and shit for school.
Now, this video does bring up some interesting points. The clip is really short. It doesn't show what happened before or after. Lachlan would have additional footage, but maybe can't release it due to legal threats. My personal theory on why Sienna hasn't actually taken action to sue for defamation is because the full video could be presented as evidence in court. But maybe I'm wrong, and the video is faulty. But this poorly edited clip on the podcast still doesn't make Sienna look any better, as all it proves is that Lachlan's edit by itself won't hold up in court. Even though Sienna's lawyer admits nothing has legally happened yet. They've only considered it, and it's been 3 years since and no lawsuit has happened. Also, what our team fails to mention is that witness testimony counts as evidence. So it's not just the video, but the statements of Jack's friends and her oath that counts. A reason why Jack probably won't pursue this legally is because he's traumatized and wants to move forward after making his testimony known. Sienna most likely knows that handling things in court will make her reputation look bad, and her main goal is to rehabilitate it. Sienna now wanted to shift focus towards her bikini company, as further engaging in this drama could have damaged her even more in the long run. In May 2022, she released a video to both YouTube and TikTok titled, "I Hope They Cancel Me." It shows Sienna and her friend dancing along to the Dominic Fike song, "Cancel Me," trying to pass off all the hate she's gotten as petty attempts to ruin her career. The top comments are trying to point out that she's trying to seem unbothered, when Jack's allegations are clearly still at the top of her mind. She still produces regular content and gets decent views on TikTok, but I can't say the same for her YouTube channel. I mean, I can't help but laugh when I see a video titled, "How to See Success on Social Media" that has less than 6,000 views. Her career wasn't close to done, but she needed to rehabilitate her image. That leads us all the way to June 2024, when someone tried doing that for her. This is Pixie Nix, a Twitch streamer, TikToker, and OnlyFans model, who mainly posts cosplay content. Oh, and she likes showing off her feet. She's not a small creator by any means, having hundreds of thousands of followers on her social media platforms. A year ago, she released a video giving her thoughts on Jack's allegations, taking the side of Sienna.
I want to start off by saying that we should always believe sexual assault victims and that this is an actual problem in society, that people don't believe male victims.
Okay, good start. Let's hear her out.
But with that being said, the Sienna Mae and Jack Wright situation has never sat right with me.
I'm willing to hear her out, guys. Let's let her explain why Jack is a false accuser.
I want to specifically talk about one thing. There's a video that Jack released, or his friends released, because Jack is letting his friends do his dirty work for him, about there's him in a room and Sienna Mae is on top of him and she's doing something, and they were saying this is proof of an assault. And I just think it's so interesting in that video that all of his friends, because there were multiple people in the room, all of his friends were watching it happen and filming it instead of not filming and stepping in and protecting his friend. Because you guys are saying, oh, we can't stop it, we can stop it. Yes, you can. You'd be surprised what a third party can do to stop violence against someone else. Okay?
So, she's piggybacking off Sienna's assertion that his friend should have just beaten her up, instead of gathering evidence and then pushing her off. I don't know, one of those just sounds more logical to me. Also, Jack's friends might not have immediately noticed her assaulting him until the video is recorded. Who knows? Pixie then claims that the video is part of an orchestrated tactic to take Sienna down, saying they were jealous of her success.
Popular opinion, extremely unpopular opinion, but I believe, and you guys can't change my mind, I'm sorry, but like, I've read all the things, but I believe that Jack and his groupie friends were jealous of Sienna's extreme immediate success, and she was rapidly rising, and they did all of this to take her down and stunt her career. I'm sorry, just from all of the behaviors and everything happened. I know you guys are so quickly to take sides, but it happened.
What does Jack or any of his friends really gain from this? I just don't understand this narrative. It's just a way to invalidate him, coming from those like Pixie who are clearly Sienna stans. People who treat this like team sports, rather than simply judging this based off the arguments presented by each side. Pixie then further tries to invalidate Jack because of recent controversies he's been in.
And now I'm hearing all of this, that he's actually a weirdo in real life, and it doesn't surprise me one bit, because every single time I've seen anything about him online, watching his videos, it just screams fake. It just screams performance.
She mentions these controversies briefly at the beginning.
I watched the video about Tana talking about Jack Wright and how he's a very weird person by dressing up as Jeffrey Dahmer every single year and asking weird questions during Never Have I Ever, and by having a PG curated image online while as acting completely different in real life by doing drugs and all of those things.
The first controversy he got into was in October 2022, when he dressed up as Jeffrey Dahmer for Halloween, very obviously based on Evan Peters' portrayal of the serial killer in that year's Netflix show. He posted it on TikTok with the caption, "POV, psychopaths drinking milk by itself." He quickly deleted it after backlash, with many online criticizing him for being an SA survivor, dressing up as someone known for committing SA. The other big controversy came from an episode of Tana Mojo's podcast a year later. She tells a story about a Halloween party from the week prior, where she's very clearly referencing Jack without saying his name. Tana describes him as a troubled person who does drugs, though she's very sympathetic to him.
I've just seen them do some like really dark shit, right? But then like I'll see them sober and they're really nice. Like I don't think they're like I think they're a troubled, dark person a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. And I think that a lot of people know that, but people still love them, you know? And it's Halloween week and we're playing, it's like after a party, and a bunch of people and I, including this person, are playing a game of Never Have I Ever, right? And the weird thing about this person is every year they dress up as the same thing, and not online. They're posting online dressed up as, you know what I mean, normal shit. And then every single year of Halloween week, I see them out dressed in the same costume as the same thing. Can I tell you what it is?
What is it?
Jeffrey Dahmer. I don't think anyone should dress as Jeffrey Dahmer more than once.
Pushing it.
You really like Jeffrey Dahmer. Why? 3 times? Are you paying an homage? Like it. No one should dress as Jeffrey Dahmer more than one time. That's all I know to say.
She then mentions playing a game of Never Have I Ever with Jack, where he gives out really dark answers.
And we're playing Never Have I Ever in a circle of like 15 people. And this person was already saying like weird shit all night, like just very dark, weird shit, you know? And then everyone's playing this very innocent game of never have I ever done Molly. Me, that's like the most innocent thing ever. But like never have I ever done Molly, never have I ever skydive, never have I ever whatever. And every time it would get around to this person dressed as Jeffrey Dahmer, they would be like not funny. It's not funny. Never have I ever had thoughts about killing the person that I was in love with.
Oh.
And then like it'd go all around again and it'd be like, never have I ever been cheated on, never have I ever done mushrooms, never have I ever graduated college. And then it would get back around to him and he'd go, never have I ever killed an animal.
Now I will say, Jack is weird as fuck for this. I completely understand the criticism that Jack is disrespectful for dressing up as Jeffrey Dahmer. However, I don't think he did so maliciously. He probably did it because he looks a lot like Evan Peters, and made those dark jokes because he was pretending to be Jeffrey. Criticize that all you want, but using those controversies to invalidate Jack's allegations is absurd. Just because he had a shitty and weird Halloween costume does not mean he slandered Sienna. Though, because of Pixie's TikTok, many began to legitimately think this way. I just find this all strange because Sienna and Pixie's fans are supposed to be progressive people. People who have criticized Sienna for not being progressive enough when it came to body positivity. Yet, just because Jack isn't a perfect victim, they completely dismiss what he has to say. Also love how these people ignore the fact that Tana dressed up as a slutty version of JoJo Siwa when JoJo was 15. Does that invalidate Tana's story of being statutory raped by Cody Ko? Not at all. Pixie, you made a shitty video invalidating Jack's struggles, all because you want to suck up to Sienna. It worked though, as Sienna would repost it half a year later.
I watched the video about Tana Mojo talking about Jack Wright and how he's a very weird person.
Everything she said was accurate. You should go watch the whole video. She nailed it on the head.
On January 18th, 2025, Sienna would post a video titled, "Talking about the Jack Wright situation." It's 48 minutes long, but much of this information is stuff said in her other responses. I'll mainly be focusing on information and statements that she hasn't expanded upon yet. Sienna makes it clear from the beginning that this video is about her. It's about her experience throughout the last few years. She mentions the text showing Jack not wanting to publicly reveal their fake TikTok relationship, saying how she would have made the video regardless after ghosting him for weeks.
And I've heard from people that are friends with him and in the friend group that they were like just stressing the entire time, that every day the video didn't come out, that he was thinking I was gonna basically bash him and cancel him. So in return of that stress on their part, they decided to shoot first. They decided to come after me first.
Sienna then presents the conspiracy that Jack and his friends are coordinating her downfall behind the scenes. Her evidence is a screenshot of text messages with little context behind it.
Me and my team were trying to figure out how to sue for defamation because the shit that this tweet said was a lie. Basically called the guy who posted this tweet's dad and was like, "Your son is lying. You know he's lying. They were friends 2 weeks ago. Take it down. Like, what is this?" And then I heard that this tweet was basically written up by Jack's brother and then posted to their other friend's phone. And there were like 5 people there and they were all like giggling and laughing and being like, "Oh my God, this is gonna like cancel or this is gonna ruin her life." And like basically just making a joke out of it and not thinking, I don't think anybody really thought like how serious shit would get saying like heavy stuff like that, especially when it's untrue, because it's like you can't just say whatever you want.
That's her only proof that Jack and his friends did this maliciously to end her career. She might as well have just said that Glub Shido gave her this information. She then mentions Jack's video, specifically the claim that she broke into his house. Her rebuttal is that she knew his door code, so it was okay.
He said I broke into his garage, but I didn't break in. All of our friend group had the code to his garage. So, I mean, his house was like the hangout house and we would all just kind of come in and hang out, and like I would bring over groceries or dinner or cookies or things like that. And we would literally all hang out at their house. Like their house was literally like a frat house in the way that people were always just there, and not even like exaggerating. Literally 10 people had the code to his garage.
Just because it was casual to come into his house like that doesn't mean it was always okay. That isn't consent to come over all the time. Like in the middle of the nights, like Jack alleges. She refers to Jack's other allegations as half-truths, saying he over-exaggerated real stories to make her look like a crazy bitch.
I don't know how to ever come back from this. I basically deleted every social media app off of my phone. Basically threw my phone away for like 3 or 4 months. I was off Instagram completely, and this was the time in which I genuinely started to heal.
Okay, but you did not immediately go off social media. You wrote a whole ass article, and then you went on a massive podcast with your legal team. Things that only made the situation worse for you. Sienna ends the video by talking about how she found God, making it out to be this life-changing thing that will motivate her moving forward.
And for a really long time, I believed that anybody who knew Jesus or was Christian had to be perfect. I have been so far from God and like he would never want to know me. And I just, for a long time, kind of wrote, you know, the idea of Jesus or having a relationship with God off, because I figured that I wasn't good enough to meet him and to talk to him. And then my mentor, and now basically my brother Justin, he told me about how Jesus calls the broken, and he told me about how God has plans to prosper you, not to harm you. How every situation that you go through ultimately is for a greater purpose. And it started to give me this hope that I hadn't had before, especially being depressed every single day. It gave me hope.
This is probably a good thing for her. My issue is that I don't think she's being entirely honest about her wrongdoings. Not once in this video does she mention crossing Jack's boundaries or anything similar. Her only self-critiques are mentioning that she'd occasionally be mean to Jack. In her follow-up video the next day, she discusses the infamous video. This is something she doesn't bring up once in her previous upload, strangely enough. She again says it was out of context, bringing up nowhere details about any evidence.
He filmed it on Snapchat and he sent it to a friend group with the caption, like the bar or whatever, that was like, ugh, they're so annoying, like making out again, or whatever, they're so cringy. He sent it as like a, ugh, they're so annoying, they're making out again. Mind you, this was his brother that filmed it. And I don't know how more people don't think about this, but if I genuinely was like sexually assaulting him in this moment, why would his brother film it? They're both like 6'2", 6'3", like they're big guys, 180 pounds. I'm 5'2" and way less than that. If they wanted to come remove me off of him, he would have. But like that didn't happen. It wasn't until they needed proof multiple months later that they then had narration over it. They made it out of context and they basically just made me look like a bad person when the initial feeling or vibe of the video was like, oh my gosh, they're making out again.
She again brings up that the video would not hold up in a court of law, mentioning her legal team from the BFF podcast.
My lawyer hired an independent video forensics expert, and basically we were like, would this hold up? Like, would this hold up as proof in a sexual assault case if we ever had to take it to legal justice system? The guy literally laughed and he was like, absolutely not. Like, this is not proof of a sexual assault. And if the lawyer is saying, if a team of lawyers is basically saying like, no, this will not hold up as proof, I think that is in itself enough. I mean, it doesn't really matter if like the 13-year-olds on TikTok disagree.
Well, of course they'd say that. They're your lawyers. They have a bias because you're paying them to legally defend you. Sienna does this whole spiel about how Gen Z treats internet allegations as innocent until proven guilty. However, she's contributing to that. She's making claims with no evidence, which could be potential lies about Jack, making him out to be a manipulative person. She claims he took all of their TikToks together off his page to make her look obsessive.
After he posted all of his allegations and made everything about me, he deleted all of the TikToks with me to basically sway public opinion and make it seem like it was super one-sided. I was posting all these videos with him, meanwhile he had nothing up. But I included a lot of these videos in the YouTube video that I just posted, and it is genuinely insane. Even I forgot how affectionate he was to me, and vice versa, on camera. I was like, how?
Or maybe he just deleted them because they make him feel uncomfortable. Why is he always the villain here? There are things to criticize Jack for, but she's now constantly finding new ways to demonize him. Now, something I haven't really dived into much during this video is Sienna's mental health. She's talked a lot about how a lot of this drama has negatively affected her, possibly in a way for people to sympathize with her. In the article, she wrote, I have 3 choices that I can see. 1. Go read the millionth I hope you kill yourself message in my DMs. 2. Let my well-meaning parents and team dictate next steps, and tie us up for what could be years in a legal battle of people who I once considered my closest friends. Or 3. Write down everything from my heart, and use my newfound adult status to take accountability, and share the whole truth to anyone who will listen. To be honest, it's hard to not choose number 1, and to actually follow it through. I told my parents last night that I just want to die. I'm so tired of fighting. I'm so tired of seeing the hate and people taking sides. My heart hurts for my friends, my family, and people I associate with who are getting bullied on their own social media accounts just because they know me. So I'm going to choose number 3 for the sake of the people I love. I'm just going to get real and bare my soul, and have faith and trust that I will land where I'm meant to be. In a recent response, she mentions that she's tried to end her own life.
One of probably the only reasons I'm alive today with my parents, because remember one day I had made a plan to take my own life, and I was gonna go through with it, and I was like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm never gonna come back from this. I'm never gonna live a normal life now. Like 20 million people saw his video, and I was like, I don't have a point. I don't have a purpose here on earth. And I remember that day, I was like watching TV in the morning, and then I was planning to do it at night. Because he was there, I couldn't go out that night and do it. And I am so grateful for my brother.
Now obviously that's disturbing, and I don't condone any of the extreme hate towards her. I think you should be able to reasonably criticize her, based on the evidence and Sienna's own words, but that behavior is uncalled for. In the Medium article, she also condemns hate comments against Jack, which is very mature of her. However, her recent videos have sparked a new wave of hate against him. I'm not going to blame her for that directly, but her rhetoric of presenting Jack and his friends as malicious liars definitely helped. His comment section has been flooded, with people discrediting him simply based off the vibes. Not any new evidence has been presented. The way he's smiling through half of this, insane lying behavior, and we see all the crocodile tears, Jack. You and so many other people owe Sienna a massive apology. Aside from the fact that this man literally destroyed a girl's childhood and derailed her career, he also preyed on the emotions of real SA victims and their trauma to sell this bullshit. Your time has come and karma is real. Abusing the empathy of millions and destroying an innocent girl's life for your glory was sick. I hope you live the life you deserve. The continuing smirk on his face pisses me off. The fake tears are so funny. These people act like they're kinesiology experts, able to prove he's guilty based on eye movements. Probably the worst comment I've seen is this one, at the top of Sienna's comment section. I'm telling y'all, this man is gay and jealous of Sienna. I am so sorry, girl. 7,000 likes. Basically just homophobia, but woke, so it's okay. I'm not mentioning this to discredit what Sienna's been through. I just think it's important to present both sides. I think Sienna is a bad person, but she's not an irredeemable monster. In fact, my main issue with her is not simply what she's been accused of, but her terrible responses to it. Here's what I mean. She makes 2 responses where she flat out denies the allegations. Then she makes a dancing video where she implies she's done nothing wrong because of her age. Then, she seemingly admits fault, and says she violated Jack's boundaries, and also admits to not understanding consent. She then deletes her other responses, where she had claimed that her and Jack had set boundaries. She now admits to the opposite. She then shows off her lawyer to legally intimidate Jack. She pretends like the whole drama was just done to cancel her, and then makes a new video 3 years later trying to make Jack and his friends out to be the bad guys. If she just admitted off the bat that she messed up and unknowingly crossed boundaries, none of this drama would have continued to this extent. She just kept dragging it out to see if she could revitalize her career. It just so happens that this recent attempt sort of worked. Not based on any evidence, but because of optics. She waited until Jack's optics were at their worst and striked back. People believe her not because she's convincing, but because of vibes. They get good vibes from Sienna because she found God, and bad vibes from Jack because he wore an insensitive Halloween costume. I believe Jack not just because of the evidence, but because of Sienna's own words. The more she stretches this out, the worse things are going to get. Stop giving out responses with no evidence. Stop demonizing Jack as this bad actor. And stop doubling down on this narrative that you're being canceled for no reason.
We don't want her to hurt anybody else. We don't want anyone to go through that experience. At the time, it feels humiliating. You feel like you have no power. You have no control in the situation. You feel, I don't know, it's horrible. I don't think I'll ever be the same person I was before Sienna. It sucks, and there's gonna be people that try to take advantage of you and get you at your most vulnerable state, and that's not fair. That's not fair at all. And it's a lot of the time it's usually like the nice the nice people that like let people walk all over them, and that was me. Like I let everyone just walk all over me, no matter what. Like I would do anything for anyone, and I think that's one of the things she gave me was I learned how to be more bold and finally say no and know that it was right to speak out. As of Sienna, I don't know if she'll ever be sorry. I don't know if she'll ever learn from what she did or she'll ever admit to what she did. I just don't want her to do this to other people.